Hi there, and thank you so much for joining me. We're going to talk about an income explosion, how to make 10 times your current income through leverage and scalability. Listen, this is proven stuff here, folks, that we're going to go over. Stuff that I have implemented in my own business, stuff that others have implemented, advice and wisdom that has been gathered through the years. Let me tell you what's going on here. I see a lot of people that run into this very same hurdle. They get to the point that they're maybe making $5,000 a month, and they're wondering, how can I get past this? How can I ramp things up so that I'm making like $50K a month? And definitely, I mean, that's where we want to be, right? Not that money is everything, but I'm going to talk to you about some philosophical stuff maybe later on. But for right now, the point is, how do you go from, just if you can make $5,000 a month, why can't you make $50,000 a month? Of course you can. I remember when I started out in this and I started making, money with my first product online, I was netting about $1,000 a month with that product. Well, my business started to grow because of the strategies that I'm going to be talking to you about in this course. Next thing I knew, I was making $5,000 a month. And then I was making $10,000 a month. Before I knew it, by implementing these strategies, I was making $20,000 a month. And, I didn't even realize it because it was like looking back and seeing all the things that I had done. And then all of a sudden, you start doing you do your accounting there and you're like, whoa, I made $20,000 last month. And then, where do you go from there? You just keep doing more of the same. And that's what this course is designed to help you do, to set reasonable goals and then use proven strategies to meet those goals and stay focused. If you're making $5,000 a month right now, you can implement these ideas and be making $50,000 a month before you know it. So we're going to talk about some of the things that successful marketers do. And obviously, you just want to make sure that you implement those strategies in your business, because what most marketers do that fail is they don't implement these. They don't get to the point where they start to realize, okay, this is a business. It's not just a hobby. It's not just, something that I'm setting up to have to not work. It's not something that I'm setting up just to make a little bit of extra money. If you're already making $5,000 a month, then probably you realize that this is a business. And then you get to that point where you're like, you want to overcome the hurdle. So you start really thinking about it. This is a business. And you're going to, approach it from that standpoint. And it's not that you're not going to take the fun out of your business. Definitely not. As a matter of fact, I'm a big advocate of making sure that whatever you're doing is what you love. And we'll talk more about that later on. Successful marketers test, track, and tweak everything. Every single component of your business. That means the copy, any copy in your business, squeeze pages, emails. Copy is just anything that appears on these types of marketing tools, sales pages, any of your ads, and also, of course, any of your traffic tactics. You want to know for sure that what you're doing is effective. You want to know how effective it is. You want to know where you can tweak things. A good marketer is constantly looking for areas to make things more perfect. Let's take your squeeze page, for example. An unsuccessful marketer, just kind of a fly-by-night job, goes out and they set up they set up a squeeze page. They start pointing traffic to it. And then best case scenario is maybe they can log into Aweber and they can tell, okay, I'm getting a 10% opt-in. I mean, that's pretty lame. Maybe you're doing like 10 different methods of traffic. And all that you can tell is, and that's just because AWeber about slaps you in the face with those kind of statistics, right? You can't hardly log in without seeing it. They're not really approaching it from the standpoint of, let's actually analyze every single step in the process. In other words, I want to know from my ads, what kind of, out of 100 ads being displayed, how many click-throughs do I get? Then they come to my squeeze page. I want to know exactly, on your squeeze page, you just don't want to know I'm getting 10%. You want to know traffic X, traffic from pay-per-click campaigns, traffic from article marketing. You want to know every single traffic source because, believe it or not, you could be setting up a traffic source that gets all of your opt-ins. Maybe you have an article marketing campaign, and that sends most of the traffic that actually opts in. But you're also doing, forum posting and pay-per-click and all this other kind of stuff. Lo and behold, you find out that none of those other sources are actually turning into people that opt in. Well, what do you need to do? Number one, you need to focus on the traffic that is getting the opt-ins. And number two, you need to look at the other sources and figure out why they're not working. This is what the fly-by-night marketers don't do. And that's why they're running around with like a chicken with their head cut off, because they don't know what's going on. They know, okay, I'm getting 10% conversion on the opt-in page, but they don't know anything about the traffic that's sending that. That's why a successful marketer is able to implement tracking to you go down to the level as low as you can get so that you know specifically where that stuff is coming from. And then you go in again and you tweak it. If it's not working, if you're going to do, let's say you're going to do a squeeze page. And believe me, this can seem overwhelming because there is so much testing that is involved to implement this correctly. But what you do, and I'm going to show you how to do later on, is you break this all down into components and you tackle it one at a time. For example, the first thing that I'm going to do is test the squeeze page itself. So I'm going to create a squeeze page. I'm going to let that squeeze page run, maybe with, I'm just sending pay-per-click traffic to it for the time being, because I want to make a little investment and find out what is going to work the most. So ideally, if you've got a squeeze page that's maximum, conversion, you've got it totally tweaked and you're getting like 75% or something opt-in, then that's the one you want to go with before you start sending floods of traffic from all your other traffic sources. Okay, so what you've got is your squeeze page first. You're going to, while the first one is running, you go out and you change just one thing on your squeeze page. Change the headline maybe. And then you let that one run for maybe 300 views and you see how many opt-ins you get. So you find out then out of those two, which one is the better headline. Then you can go ahead and you can test the headline again, or you can test some other component, maybe some bullet points, or you can throw in a video, something. But the point is you only change one thing and you test and you optimize and you find out which squeeze page performs the best. You do the same thing with your sales page. You do the same thing with your ads. With your ads, you change just the headline. Have 3 different ads, if you're doing pay-per-click or something. Just change that one component. See which one runs the best, and then that's the one that you go with, and then change another component. Change the body. Run 3 of them, see which one performs the best, and then change to the display URL, for example. But this is the part of business that, most people don't do. You want to make sure that you change things to help get those conversions up. You want maximum conversion. And a conversion is just any time you got somebody to do something that you wanted them to do. So if the conversion is an ad, then that means they clicked on the ad. If we're dealing with a squeeze page, that means they opted in. That's a conversion. If we're dealing with a sales page, the conversion is they bought it. So maximize those conversions. And then what do you do with the non-performers? You get rid of them. It's as simple as that. What I have found is that people don't want to actually spend time on their business. And how can you expect that that business is going to be squeezing every last dollar out of those people if you're not willing to spend a little bit of time? And that's what this is all about. If you think about it, just in this one example, this one slide that we have looked at here, what if, with just the squeeze page, the emails, the sales page, your ads, your article marketing maybe, what if you could increase each one of those by 10%? Increase the opt-ins, increase the conversions, increase the sales, all of that just by 10%. 10% is not a ridiculous number. But what would happen to your business if you just focused on this one slide right here, focus on that for a while and increase everything just by 10%? Imagine what's going to happen, okay? Now, obviously, there is some work in here. You're going to have to do some studying to figure out how to do the tracking. You're going to have to learn about PHP redirection and tracking and tracking codes and all that kind of stuff. But that's what separates the men from the boys, folks. It's just a fact.